Here are 25 signs that someone might be dealing with low self-esteem. Let's begin. 1. So, you know how some people are always criticizing themselves? Well, that's one sign of low self-esteem. It can make them feel lonely, anxious, angry, or sad, and even increase their chances of getting depressed. 2. Another thing to watch out for is when people constantly put themselves down. They might say something like, "I'm so stupid," or "I can't do anything right." It's like they have this belief that nobody likes them and they are just not as good as others. 3. People with low self-esteem often feel inferior. They constantly compare themselves to others and think they are not as good or as important. 4. One thing that really upsets them is when someone disagrees with or criticizes them. It hits them hard and can make them feel really down about themselves. 5. You'll notice that they usually have a negative mindset. They focus on the bad stuff and don't give themselves credit for their accomplishments. It's like they are their own worst enemy. 6. Sometimes they act helpless, like they can't do anything on their own. They rely on others to save or do things for them, even when they can handle it themselves. 7. And when it comes to their appearance, they are not too happy. They might avoid looking at themselves in the mirror because they think they're not attractive enough. So, they compensate by dressing up nicely to feel better about themselves. 8. It's tough for them to accept compliments. They tend to brush them off or downplay their strengths. They are more focused on their weaknesses and flaws. 9. To feel better about themselves, they constantly seek reassurance from others. They need compliments and positive feedback to fight off those negative thoughts. But unfortunately, the effect of those compliments doesn't last very long. 10. Instead of taking action to solve their problems, they often fall into self-pity. They dwell on their misfortunes rather than finding ways to improve their situation. 11. You might notice that they avoid showing their face during online sessions or webinars. It's like they're afraid of being judged or criticized. 12. They have a tendency to make jokes at their own expense, putting themselves down. It's their way of coping with low self-esteem, but it's not a healthy approach. 13. When it comes to opinions, they don't value their own as much as others. They tend to think what they say isn't as important or valid. 14. Their relationships can suffer too. They might tolerate mistreatment from partners or friends because they feel undeserving of love or friendship. However, low self-esteem can also push them to become bullies themselves. 15. They habitually blame themselves for everything, even when it's not their fault. They automatically assume they are the problem in any difficult situation. 16. They often disregard the opinions and good intentions of others when it comes to different issues or topics. They don't trust that others genuinely want to help or give valuable advice. 17. Low self-esteem can impact their performance at school or work. They doubt themselves and struggle to reach their full potential. 18. They might pretend criticism doesn't bother them, but it really does. It affects them more than they let on. 19. Taking on challenges is hard because they underestimate their abilities. They think they'll fail, so they avoid even trying. Conversely, Low self-esteem can also push them to become perfectionists, always striving for flawlessness to hide their insecurities. 20. Even if they seem happy and accomplished on the outside, they are actually terrified of failure. They have this constant fear of not being good enough or not living up to expectations, despite their outward appearance. 21. Social situations can be challenging for them too. They often fear judgment from others, so they tend to avoid events like sports or social gatherings where they might feel scrutinized. 22. Interestingly, they believe that the solution to their low self-esteem is to avoid facing it altogether. They think avoiding situations that trigger their insecurities will make them feel safer and more comfortable. 23. Handling challenging situations becomes a real struggle for them. They often feel overwhelmed and helpless, lacking the confidence to tackle difficulties head-on. 24. Unfortunately, low self-esteem puts them at a high risk for self-harm, developing eating disorders, turning to substance abuse like drugs or alcohol, and even smoking tobacco. These harmful behaviors serve as unhealthy coping mechanisms for their deep-rooted insecurities. 25. Lastly, they constantly worry about what others think of them. They are afraid that people will see them as less capable or less competent than others. So those are the 25 signs of low self-esteem. It's important to note that not everyone will exhibit these signs. Still, if you notice someone displaying several of these behaviors, they may be struggling with their self-worth. If you found this information helpful, we'd appreciate it if you could give us a like and subscribe to our channel. We aim to reach as many people as possible and provide valuable content. Thank you, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon.